This next story is hilarious, pathetic, and scary all at the same time. So Seattle recently raised their minimum wage over time to $15 an hour. And about a week after that, a lobbying group filed a lawsuit on behalf of McDonald's and Taco Bell and some other places to try and strike down that new rule. And I thought McDonald's, I saw an article the other day that said, oh yeah, McDonald's, the CEO now says they're in favor of a minimum wage hike. Really? Then why are you trying to strike down the increase of the minimum wage in Seattle? So it appears like they're just lying. Like they're just doing some sort of a public perception campaign to try to make people think that they're better than they are, and behind closed doors, they're doing the same old shit that they've always done. But get this, man, and this is where the hilarious, pathetic, and scary part comes in. Listen to the argument being made by this lobbyist group in court. You're not going to believe this. Quote, the lobbying group argues that Seattle's new minimum wage violates the First Amendment because, quote, by increasing the labor costs of franchisees, the ordinance will reduce the ability of franchisees to dedicate funding to the promotion of their businesses and brands. So, in other words, the fact that they have to pay a living wage now to their workers, they say violates freedom of speech. And why does it violate freedom of speech? Because if they could pay workers less than a living wage, well, they would be able to buy more ads. And they can tell people about the Big Macs more often. Man, what a desperate argument. To use that argument, you're going out of your way to be an insufferable douche weasel. I mean, talk to anybody, and at face value, they will reject that idea, even if they're, a hardline conservative. Hey, should the government be able to reject minimum wage increases because it violates the First Amendment? For fuck's sake, man, you want to talk about a stretch. That might be an even bigger stretch than money equaling free speech. Because, and by the way, journalist Ian Millhiser really made a great point about this. He points out that, quote, if this were actually what the Constitution required, then any law imposing costs on anyone would be unconstitutional, including all taxes. So all taxes would violate the First Amendment because, after all, every dollar paid in taxes is a dollar that can be spent to buy an ad. So I guess you're just flat out taking away free speech rights by doing any form of taxation. Again, it's such a silly argument. Look, if this wins at any level, whether it's at the local level, the state level, or the federal level, or if it gets to the Supreme Court and it wins, I don't even know, man. Then we might have to sit down and start considering a peaceful revolution of the government. Gandhi style, try to just fucking rework this whole thing and start from scratch, because then we would have gone too far off the rails.